Well, look who's back again. It's one of those weeks. And I'm back because I want to share that I got again. I got another record yesterday. This one I kind of knew was going to be coming, but I didn't know when. I've spoken about it before, but now that I have the vinyl, I'll speak about it again. And it's a good album. Michael P. Dawson's Paleozoic. Some of you may remember me showing this maybe about a month ago, and I enthused about it. He told me at the time that he was going to have it pressed on vinyl, and it is here, and he sent me a copy. Michael P. Dawson, Paleozoic. He said this will be available through CD Baby in about a week. Okay, because I showed it online and there was immediate interest. I really like this album, and and I'm with you, Michael, on wanting it on vinyl. Lovely shade of green. This is a very good album. I want to try to say a lot of things in a short time. The first thing I want to try to get out is that due to the music industry being more focused on being an industry and just making money, and that crashing, the music industry, the way it used to be, is over. Technology really has, in some ways, on a positive note, put music back in the hands of the people. And by that, what I'm saying is that independent music is alive and well, always has been. But some of the best music that I'm encountering in 2017 these days is independent, not from the music industry at all. And this is a very good example. As I said before, this album stylistically starts off with something very angular and buzzy and reminds me of something like King Crimson, but then it runs the gamut. It's very impressionistic. Michael, I notice on Facebook that he posts a lot of photography about insects and stuff. So this is obviously a real deep interest of his. And I say that because these tracks are very descriptive. Herrings and Ingrids, Dimetrodon, Precambrian, Carbon-14. When you listen to the tracks that go along with it, I'll be darned if what he does sonically does not call to mind these titles. So I just want to get on here and enthuse about, once again, the high quality of music coming from independent musicians, Michael P. Dawson being one of them. He sent me his other album, I think about a year or so ago, Insect Garden, and I definitely hear progress. I hear a progression. I hear where the craft is growing. Okay, that's what I want to put. So, this is not for sale as of today on vinyl, but it will be in about a week, and I'll pass it on when I know it. Once again, I get and I didn't completely prepare. I get I'll do a video, and then the flood of questions. Well, do you know about? Someone asked about the Polish band SBB. I just have a couple, but yeah, this is a wonderful band in the vein of Mahavishnu Orchestra. New Horizon, is that the name of this? I have one other album by them. I don't know how to say this. I don't speak Czech. Memento Zibam Banalenum Chuptikim. And I have a single by Joseph Skrzek, the keyboardist. Good band, good musicians, instrumental. I love it. I didn't grab them. They're out in the other room. C through the rest of the alphabet is in here. A through C starts out in the other room. But I do have Barclay James Harvest. I very seldom play them. Once Again is the album of theirs that I discovered as a kid, so that's the one that has nostalgic quality for me, and that's the one I play when I play. I've found some used over the years and bought them, and nothing has really stuck hard. Kind of like, to me, they've been described as a poor man's Moody Blues by some critics. That's a silly term, but if I were to choose between Barclay and Moody, most of the time the Moody Blues will win out to be listened to. I absolutely love the Moody Blues. Some other records sitting out that I didn't get to that have been played in the last week or so. Italian band Osana. This is an album of theirs, a reissue of Palepoli. I'm sure there's some kind of story behind this. There's some kind of concept behind the main piece on here. It starts up like you're in a market square in olden times, and there's a flute playing and someone playing a little drum, and it just takes off. It's a fantastic piece of music. Osana. Have a few other of their albums too. I don't speak Italian, so I don't know what they're singing about, and it's, you know, it's the music. Okay, put that together later. Some jazz I was listening to. Manfred Schuf Quintet, Light Lines. I love the European feel. Japo Records is not ECM Records, but there is some sort of connection. And the feel of these this album, the cover is very descriptive. Perfect. Not smooth jazz. In that treacly, the term smooth jazz for me is a bad commercialized term. This is not smooth. It glides. There's the word. This music glides. Fantastic. A band that deserves to be great. They deserve to be considered one of the greatest progressive rock bands of all time, and they're not even hardly known. Universe Zero from Belgium. Sous du Dehors. The bass player from the band, Guy Siggers, is now a friend of mine on Facebook, and we really don't talk much, but there are conversations where we interact, a group of people, and their catalog and a whole bunch of other stuff has recently been put out in a massive CD box set, which I wish I could afford. There are elements of classical music, chamber music. This music is powerful and dark. The drummer, Daniel Dennis, is a master percussionist. I think you can say that. When you hear the drums, you take notice. They're being played by someone who really knows what he's doing. And this music is sculpted in many ways, at many times, by the percussion. Fantastic music. Universe Zero. If you can't understand me, hopefully you can. Greek band. Came to my attention through an album they made with Vangelis. Socrates Drank the Conium. On the Wings. This is that type of European hard rock that has a bit of mania in it, where it's like almost over the top. These guys are so into it, and which makes it even more compelling and great to listen to, because it's got a lot of energy. Once again, this was a gift from someone, I forget who, but it's got the poster and everything. This is a reissue. Play this. It's something I just found many years ago. German band. I don't speak German. Once again, when the music is this good, it just doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to me anyway about the words. It really doesn't. People say stuff. Look at the world now. Facts don't matter. Whatever anyone says who has the power to make it be, they get their way. So I keep saying, and I've said it many times, words are not so important. They're almost like a virus. We can say change the world, but do we change it? No. So it's the music and the musical picture that is always the most important to me. Ihre Kinder, Verdal. think the band comes out of folk origins, possibly. This is definitely progressive rock mixed with folk and just heavy rock. There's some great moments on here that remind me of not the sound of Genesis, but the way that Genesis would hit me when I first started to become familiar with them. When they would make these unexpected, unusual chord changes, which Tony Banks, to me, is famous for, and that's what he has said in his own words. That's what really excited him about playing music, was looking for those beautiful passages that are unexpected. This is an amazing album. Kind of hard to come across, too. Hiromi Hosono, the guy that started Yellow Magic Orchestra, and Tadanori Yoku, visual artist. Kochin Moon, Sakamoto, and Hideki Matsutake are also on this. This is a really neat album, made back in the early days of YMO, just starting to come together. Electronic, there's a connection to Bollywood, but it's not direct. This is a really cool, unusual electronic album, Kochin Moon. Check this out. Hiromi Hosono. To me, one of the godfathers of electronic music. One of the godfathers, in my opinion. Here's one that I received from the artist himself. Mikhail Stromberg from the L'Amour label. And he goes by the moniker Igor. And this is Fast and Slow. Ambient, wonderful. It's been lost in the shuffle. Kind of like a Harold Budd album where many of the pieces are driven by piano, but he uses the piano percussively and sonically as much as melodically. I hadn't played this much since I first got it in 2015. Isn't that when I got? Yeah. This is very good, and I do seek it out, and you'll be surprised. Something you've never heard about in the music industry, in the music press. This good. Fast and Slow. People always talk about Eno and stuff, you know. William Basinski, yeah, he's good. People talk about him. La Bradford, Stars of the Lid. Check this out. Igor, Fast and Slow. So I don't talk too much about heavy music. I like to play hard music. I don't listen to much at home. I did play some Zenigiva the other day. Nai Ha, group led by the individual KK Null, who's done a lot of noise and electronic work over the years. A little bit of this goes a long way for me, and it has to do with where my head is at, which is I recognize the wholeness of life, dark and light, good and bad, all shades in between. I recognize that inside of myself. So a lot of times the heavier, harsher stuff, when I was listening to it as a younger man, it was as much about self-discovery as it was being into the sound itself. Now I can get into sound, but it doesn't take long before I'm ready to move on to something else. But this still is in the collection, kind of on the heavier sludge metal sort of side of things, okay? Last one, Wes Montgomery, A Day in the Life. This is one of his, what is considered commercial albums that he made for A&M, CTI. Well, the thing is, Wes Montgomery was such a wonderful guitar player. This is such a fantastic album. I love what he does with these songs. They're all covers. The Beatles a lot, you know. Eleanor Rigby is on here. He does the Association's Windy. They're not cheesy at all. This is a beautiful album. Since I pulled this, I've played it probably 4 times as I'm doing things in the room because the music I love it so much. Okay, Michael P. Dawson. When this becomes available, don't miss out on it. Green vinyl. Thank you again, Michael. Thank you all musicians who watch and You honor me when you send me your music. You folks that leave kind and interactive comments, you honor me. I am still regularly deleting certain comments. When people make comments thinking they can speak to me, you know, disparagingly or whatever they're thinking, and I don't know them, and I don't know you, and you don't know me, they go, because you have no business trying to tell me about my business. You don't know me. You hear me say a few words and you come to a snap judgment, and then you write something that is unfriendly, unwise, unwelcome. It goes. Listen to what I just said and try to learn something and be a better person. Anonymously coming along and being shitty to people just reflects poorly on the person doing it, okay? People who are smart and realize that. I do understand that people who still do stuff like that, many of them are not smart enough to realize what they're doing. But I am encouraging folks to become wiser and better people. I'm trying. I'm just as messed up as the next person, but I'm trying. I'm trying to be decent, okay? That's all we can do is try, okay? One more thing. Well, I could go for a while, but I'm gonna go this far. With all this sexual harassment and misconduct coming out in the entertainment industry, it does not make sense that people are losing their jobs and we still have Trump for a president, number one. Number two, all of this to me is calling for a sea change in culture. It's been a man's world for too long, and in that sense, men have been able to get away with using their dominance, their power, especially when you have power over people, to manipulate, to take advantage of, to just do whatever you want, thinking you can just do whatever. This whole hysteria and outing of people who have, because of Weinstein, would really be good if it leads to a change in our thinking and behavior. I myself am honest enough to admit that, and I'm also happy to say that long before this shit happened, I had my own awakening, personal awakening, before I turned 30. But as a musician, a rock musician, you know, I became, and it was obvious that a lot of people play music for the sex appeal and to get the girls or whatever. So I learned early on that, number one, you can do that, but I also learned through experience how bad it feels if you have a heart to take advantage of people, to realize what you are doing or have just done. Oh, because I'm so-and-so and because I have this, or because I can do that, I can get this out of this person, or I can be rude and no one will do anything to me. I learned that that's not cool, and the emotional and value repercussions that they brought to me weren't worth it. So I'm happy to say that the one of the last times that I was an idiot on stage doing rock and roll shit, where I almost crossed the line, I was confronted about it. This happened when I was still in my 20s. It really helped me to grow. I was confronted by the person's boyfriend who wasn't at the show. Won't go into details. I'll just say that she was drunk, I was drunk. It doesn't excuse that I was being rude to her from the stage, which I was. And I apologized, and that was a real wake-up call. A big part of it was the fact that they had the balls to confront me and call me on the carpet on my shit, which is what's happening to these people now. If men and some of you women would be honest, you would look at your life and say, yeah, I've been inappropriate. I have been sexist. This, it needs to change. Healthy sex says, we need sex because it's how we exist. But this uneven playing field and the way that the double standard of how we raise boys and some of the shit that they learn and are inadvertently taught is okay, it's pretty obvious right now as some of this stuff is coming to light that a lot of damage has been done and there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. It won't happen overnight, but it sure needs to happen, doesn't it?